Now, Israel is facing growing international criticism over widespread starvation in Gaza, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing back. His ministers deny the severity of the hunger crisis, while others insist it's not Israel's fault. This as global concern mounts over the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in the region. For more on this, we're joined by the founder of Gift of the Givers, Dr Imtiaz Sooliman, who joins us now. Dr. Sooliman, thank you so much for the time here. And I suppose we wanted to bring you in because you could possibly help us on a sense of the work done by yourselves on the ground and the struggles that are faced by all those in Gaza right now.
Good morning, Arabile. Yes, I have to keep replacing teams. We've lost 210 people inside Gaza. Presently, we've got 30 people. It's 5 different teams in different parts of the province. They try everything possible to supply, to fix water plants, deliver water, buy food that comes in sometimes to commercial people. The trucks that came in, but no trucks have come in since March, been completely blocked up. What we had earlier, we used. And then some people come back to their buildings, owners, and try to find food within their broken buildings. Pharmacists try to find medicines. Sometimes medicines do come in, a few supplies come in. We try to purchase that. But then, of course, there's animals that are alive, and they're rearing for the animals. We buy that off to supply meat. But I must stress, these are not huge quantities. You look at 1.9 million people, less probably 100,000, 200,000 that are dead, unaccounted for. So the figure has dropped substantially, but of course it's still at least 1.7 to 1.8 million people. You can't get to all the areas. Snipers are a problem, roads are a problem, bombings are a problem, reaching people is a problem. That's why we've got 5 different teams. But we can't get to the north, and in Rafah itself, it's completely sealed off. You can't get there. It's more the center and around the center that we have the teams. The other things that we try to use is farmers, as well as ordinary people, try to grow crops in their homes. And we then buy those crops off and try to give the vegetables any form of sustenance that we can get or nutrition. We try to provide to the people in the camps, in the tents, in those in broken homes, and to some people in the hospital. But I mean, the quantity is nowhere near, it's totally insignificant compared to what's required.
Yeah, and where's this blockade coming from? And I know you spoke about the roads themselves being very difficult to get through, certain areas, of course, being destitute as well. But with a lot of the criticism still going towards Israel itself, then, where do the blockades actually come from in getting a lot of this aid through to those that need it?
Israel has blocked all the borders coming into Gaza. Every single border is controlled by them. They've controlled and blocked every single border. Nothing can go through. As I said, from March, no commercial trucks, or not commercial, aid carrying trucks have not been able to go through since March. And in between, they allow 2 to 3 trucks. Like yesterday, they're saying they're allowing 150 trucks. The figure they tell you is not exactly the figure they're allowed to go through. After a certain amount of trucks go through, they stop it and create the impression to the world that they're great guys, that they're allowing aid to go through. It's not their fault. Hamas is stealing the aid, and that kind of issue. We know their lies for too well. They've been lying for 76 years. I mean, this is a pariah terrorist state that focuses and lives on lies and deception and dishonesty, using international media to control and propagate the evil and the dishonesty and the murder, the genocide. So this is what they do all the time. But on the ground, there's enough evidence. There's hundreds of newborn journalists, people who've become journalists who send messages out. We got people we find inside there. They send video clips who show us what's going on inside Gaza. We show the difficulty, we see the difficulty of the people. We see the starvation, we see the hardship, we see the lack of movement. Nothing comes in, and what comes in can't move around. There's no fuel, there's no transport. You have to use a donkey cart or carry it on a bicycle or something small. So even when you get the stuff in, to actually get it to the people is a problem.
Yeah.
And because it's so less, it causes a huge crisis in terms that desperate people then lose their humanity. It's a huge humiliation, it's indignity, fighting for food, fighting for supplies, and the stronger people win. And the weaker people don't get anything. This situation of indignity is created by Israel to make sure that people are in this hardship and difficulty. Then they tell the world they're doing airdrops. I mean, how dumb is that? When the borders can open up and you can send in 600 trucks a day, how dumb is it to use airdrops as a means of appeasing the world? It's an absolute crisis, it's inhumane, and it's murderous.
Yeah, Dr. Sooliman, on screen a moment ago, we're showing, images just of even the children that are ultimately suffering through all of this. And the future of Palestine itself then becomes of key paramount importance here. And some of the images that are coming out of this, absolutely stark. Is there no messaging that seems to be getting through to Israel at this point to perhaps get to the negotiating table a little bit better? Uphold the ceasefire and do more.
They just walked out of the negotiating table yesterday. They do this all the time. You know, if there's another country, if it wasn't Palestine, it was some Western type of country, the United Nations would have moved troops into the area. They would have taken resolutions. They would send in humanitarian aid. They would enter the country. They would have done that. But because this is a third world country, people don't matter. A Palestinian life is not as important as Israeli life, so it doesn't matter. And under any other circumstances, they would have taken a resolution, bypass Israel, send troops to the country, and make sure aid deliveries were taking place. But this is Western imperialist agenda where they protect themselves and don't give two hoots about third world countries. But we can do something. South Africa can do something, which we've done before. South Africa went to the ICJ, and thereafter, in March and May last year, we got interim relief measures. We can go back to the ICJ, and this is a direct call to President Cyril Ramaphosa and Minister Ronald Lamola. You need to send a team back to the ICJ to go with remedial measures or provisional measures, which tells them that Israel is using food and as a means of, as a weapons of genocide to bring starvation. And they can then pass a ruling to make sure that Israel opens those borders to take the trucks in. We can do it. And South Africa is the only country that can do it because we brought the case to the ICJ. Nobody else can do that. So this is a call directly to the president and Ronald Lamola, minister, and the parliament and cabinet and all the political parties to support this move to send our team back to the ICJ to get this provisional measure to open the borders to get aid. And other countries will then follow and deliver aid into the area.
I was about to ask about those other countries. I mean, one, you have those that are backing Israel, and then you have the 28 countries which just this past week actually gave an endorsed joint statement then, including the United Kingdom, which explicitly blamed Israel for a lot of this. I mean, just some of the wording. The suffering of the civilians in Gaza has reached new depths. The Israeli government's aid delivery model is dangerous, fuels instability, and deprives Gazans of human dignity. Should there be, or could there be more pressure from some of the other countries to do a little bit more here?
This is hypocrisy. It's just like for the first time they heard about the Gaza problem, like 23 months later. Have they not known that the food is not coming in? Have they not known that Israel has been decimating people? Is there some kind of moral reawakening that is coming to their brain right now? You know what? This should have been done a long time ago. They want to be on the right side of history when they're always on the wrong side of history. Credit to all those countries that stood with South Africa, you know, at the beginning when South Africa did the ICJ ruling, when South Africa went to the ICJ. Credit to the countries in Colombia who stood with South Africa. Credit to the Colombian president who stopped all coal imports from Colombia to Israel. South Africa should do the same thing. Make sure no coal from Richards Bay goes to Israel. And credit to all those other countries who stood from the beginning, even from Europe, with Gaza. We don't need lip service. We need definite interaction. Like I said, put the troops in the ground. Make sure the borders are open and deliver. You don't need Israel's permission when international law is taken. You've done that in Bosnia. You've done that in Iraq. You did what you wanted in Vietnam. You did what you wanted in Libya. Why don't you do it in Israel?
Yeah, I was about to ask though, because it seems like words have not gotten anywhere over the last, we say 23 months, but honestly, it's been years and decades, maybe even some might say as well then. What further action? Because now it's about action, right? Not just speaking anymore. Is there physical, critical action? Of course, you've spoken about South Africa going to the ICJ, but physical action then that can also still be taken to ensure at least a sense of calm so that people can actually negotiate better.
Yeah, look, the negotiations are not going to work. You know, Israel is negotiating bad faith all the time. You know, you can never be sure with them, even while the negotiations are on, and even when the peace deal is signed, they break the peace deal all the time. They tell you 100 trucks, but only 50 go through. They've acted in dishonesty all the time. It's a characteristic of their nature and their behavior. This can only be done by the United Nations. As I said, send the troops in, send the aid in, open the borders, force Israel and say we're coming in. That's what you can do about this. They've done it in other countries. Do it now. Show your honesty, your integrity, and show us why it is the United Nations. Otherwise, don't waste your time. Just disband.
Gift of the Givers founder, Dr Imtiaz Sooliman, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Indeed, it's a story in which we're seeing a whole host of poverty and